Welcome back to the channel, The Daily Scoop. Today we're diving into a question that has been circulating everywhere across campuses, classrooms, and of course, the internet. Is AI making college students dumber? Inspired by Ronny Chieng's investigation, this script explores the layers behind that question, the fears, the realities, and the surprising truths hidden beneath the noise. So let's get into it and break down what's really going on with students learning and the ever-growing presence of artificial intelligence. The idea that AI is making students dumber sounds dramatic, and that's exactly why it gets so much attention. Whenever a new technology emerges, especially one that feels disruptive, people panic and assume the worst. It happened with calculators, it happened with the internet, it happened with smartphones. Now it's happening with AI tools like ChatGPT and other advanced systems. People assume students will stop thinking, stop learning, stop studying, and just rely entirely on machines. But is that actually happening? Is that what's really going on inside college classrooms, or are we simply dealing with another cycle of fear that happens every time technology evolves? Ronny Chieng's investigation brings forward a mix of student voices and expert opinions. Some students absolutely do rely on AI for assignments, brainstorming, and even full essays. Others treat AI like a helper rather than a replacement for their own thinking. What becomes clear is that AI is not a single thing. It can be a tutor, a shortcut, a guide, or a crutch. The problem isn't the existence of AI. The problem is how people choose to use it. Just like any tool, its impact depends heavily on human decisions. If you use it to skip learning, you'll become weaker. If you use it to enhance learning, you may actually become stronger. College students today are juggling more responsibilities than ever before. Between tuition pressures, part-time jobs, internships, and high expectations, AI becomes a practical support system. It helps students save time, clarify confusing topics, or organize ideas when their brains are overwhelmed. But there's a difference between using it to sharpen your thoughts and using it to replace them. Ronny highlights this difference by speaking to students who admit that AI makes things easier, but also confess that they sometimes rely on it because professors assign too much work without enough guidance. In other words, the issue may not be that students are lazy, but that the academic system hasn't adapted to the new technological environment. When professors talk about AI, their biggest concern is academic honesty. Many professors feel like they are constantly fighting against invisible AI-driven cheating, unsure if the work students submit even belongs to them. They worry that if students don't write, research, or think on their own, their critical thinking will deteriorate. And that's a valid fear. Education has always relied on the process, not just the final answer, but the truth is that students have used shortcuts for decades. Whether it was copying answers from the back of the textbook, sharing homework in group chats, buying essays online, or relying on Spark Notes, students have long found ways around traditional academic tasks. The difference now is scale and speed. AI makes shortcuts easier, faster, and harder to detect. Ronny's investigation also reveals another important point. A lot of assignments in modern education are outdated. When students feel like the tasks they're doing don't matter in the real world, they're more inclined to cut corners. If the assignment feels like busy work rather than genuine learning, AI becomes the path of least resistance. So instead of asking whether AI is making students dumber, maybe we should ask whether education needs to evolve. Instead of banning the tool, maybe instructors should rethink how to integrate it meaningfully. The goal is not to fear AI, but to teach students how to use it responsibly while still developing their own cognitive abilities. Experts in Ronny Chieng's piece argue that AI can actually increase intelligence when used well. It can explain things in simpler ways, offer examples, translate complex theories, or break down topics step by step. It can act like a tutor that is available 24/7 and never gets tired. For students who lack academic support or come from backgrounds where resources are limited, AI can level the playing field. Instead of widening inequality, it might reduce it. The key is understanding the boundary between assistance and overdependence. If students rely entirely on AI, their ability to think independently suffers. But if they use AI to spark ideas, practice skills, or understand concepts, it can act as an accelerator of learning. One of the funniest yet most revealing parts of Ronny's investigation is how casually some students admit to using AI for everything. They treat it like a natural part of their academic routine. To them, it's no different from using Google, YouTube tutorials, or Grammarly. That casualness shows how normalized AI has become for the younger generation. They don't see it as a threat. They see it as a resource. And the truth is, the professional world is already using AI extensively. Businesses, tech companies, marketers, writers, and even scientists use AI tools. So if colleges pretend AI doesn't exist, they might actually be doing students a disservice. The real challenge is teaching students how to use AI ethically and smartly rather than banning it. Another important point raised in the investigation is that learning is more than writing essays or solving equations. Learning is about thinking, understanding, analyzing, and applying knowledge to real life. A student could write a perfect essay without learning anything if they simply let AI generate it. But a student could also use AI to explore new ideas, ask deeper questions, and enhance their understanding. In that scenario, AI is not dumbing them down, it's pushing them further. The difference lies in intention. Ronny also highlights how some professors are adapting. Instead of fighting AI, they're embracing it. They create assignments that require personal reflection or classroom discussion. They ask students to explain their reasoning verbally. They encourage AI-assisted research, but require students to justify and critique the results. These strategies show that education doesn't have to be outdated. It can evolve alongside technology rather than resist it. When professors innovate, students follow. There's an interesting generational gap explored in the investigation. Older generations often fear AI because they compare it to the world they grew up in. They see it as a shortcut that undermines effort. Younger generations see it as a tool that complements effort. This difference in perception is part of why the debate feels so intense. Two groups are looking at the same tool but seeing completely different things. Neither side is entirely wrong, but both sides need to understand the other's perspective. Is AI making students dumber? The answer isn't a simple yes or no. AI can make students dumber if they use it to escape thinking. It can make students smarter if they use it to enhance thinking. The responsibility falls on students, educators, and institutions to create an environment where AI is used constructively rather than destructively. Technology is neutral. Human behavior is not. Ronny's investigation also shows that many students don't want to be dependent on AI. They worry about losing their ability to write or think critically. They worry that employers will expect them to think independently, and they fear they won't be prepared. This shows that despite using AI frequently, students still care about learning. They're not trying to become dumber, they're just navigating a system that hasn't fully caught up with modern tools. There's also a psychological angle. When students feel overwhelmed, stressed, or confused, AI becomes a comfort. It reduces anxiety by offering clarity and structure, but relying on that comfort too much can prevent growth. Learning often requires discomfort. Struggle leads to understanding. If AI removes all struggle, students may lose essential skills. But if AI reduces unnecessary friction while maintaining meaningful challenges, it becomes a powerful educational partner. Another issue Ronny highlights is the increasing pressure on academic integrity offices. With AI, it's harder to determine whether a student cheated. Detection tools are unreliable and often produce false accusations. This creates tension between students and institutions. Some students fear being punished even when they haven't used AI. This fear can damage trust in the entire educational system. Instead of policing AI use aggressively, schools need clearer guidelines, better communication, and more transparency. Ronny also touches on the cultural angle. Students from different countries view AI differently depending on their education systems. Some cultures emphasize memorization, so AI seems like cheating. Others emphasize problem solving, so AI seems like a helper. These attitudes influence how students engage with AI and how comfortable they feel using it. Understanding these cultural differences helps us see why the conversation is so complex. The workplace perspective is equally important. Many companies expect employees to use AI tools to increase productivity. Some even train workers to use AI effectively. If colleges try to ban AI entirely, they may create a mismatch between academic expectations and real-world expectations. Students may graduate unprepared for the modern job market. Instead of banning AI, colleges need to teach AI literacy, how to evaluate AI output, how to avoid biases, how to maintain human oversight, and how to combine AI assistance with personal expertise. Ronny's investigation ultimately shows that AI is not inherently good or bad. It is powerful, and powerful tools require responsibility. The relationship between AI and student intelligence depends on habits, choices, and mindset. If students treat AI as a replacement for thinking, they risk becoming passive learners. If they treat AI as a partner in thinking, they become more capable, more curious, and more adaptable. Students need guidance, not fear-based messaging. They need professors who understand AI rather than panic about it. They need assignments that develop deep understanding rather than superficial completion. And they need space to experiment, make mistakes, and learn how to use technology responsibly. The future of education depends on cooperation, not conflict. When Ronny Chieng asks whether AI is making students dumber, what he really uncovers is that the world is changing faster than education. Students are adapting to technology more quickly than institutions are. This gap creates confusion, tension, and misunderstandings, but it also creates opportunities for innovation. The goal isn't to go backward and pretend AI doesn't exist. The goal is to move forward in a way that protects the value of learning while embracing the benefits of modern tools. If we look back at history, every major technological leap was accused of making people dumber. People said writing would weaken memory. People said books would reduce intelligence. People said calculators would destroy math skills. People said the internet would kill curiosity, but humanity adapted. And not only did we adapt, we became more advanced, more connected, and more capable. AI fits into that same pattern. The crucial difference is how we choose to use it. If students learn to think critically about AI-generated information, they become stronger thinkers. If they learn to question, analyze, and verify, their intelligence grows. If they learn to use AI as a starting point rather than the final destination, they become more prepared for the future. Ronny's investigation closes with a reminder that humor can reveal truth. By poking fun at student habits and academic anxieties, he exposes the deeper issues at play. Students aren't becoming dumber, they're becoming different. They're learning in new ways. They're navigating a digital landscape previous generations never had to face. And they're doing their best to balance the demands of modern life with the desire to succeed. The big question isn't whether AI is good or bad. The real question is how we adapt to a world where AI is everywhere. Education needs to evolve. Students need to learn responsibility. Institutions need to rethink old systems. And society needs to understand that intelligence is not measured by how well someone avoids technology, but by how well they use it. At the end of the day, AI is a tool, and tools don't define intelligence. Choices do, effort does, curiosity does, responsibility does. College students aren't becoming dumber. They're becoming part of a new era where human intelligence works alongside machine intelligence. And that future, if approached correctly, can be brighter than ever. Thanks for tuning in today, and I hope this deep dive gave you a fresh perspective on whether AI is truly making students dumber. If you enjoyed this discussion, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think AI is helping or hurting students? Until next time, take care and see you in the next video.